Hi guys, I'm Victoria, and I don't want to talk to my cat anymore today, so I'm going to tell you guys a great story. A story about when I found out that I was infected, diagnosed, and then cured of tuberculosis. Yes, tuberculosis, TB, aka consumption, aka the thing that kills Nicole Kidman in Moulin Rouge. I had that. In the modern world, I didn't know that was a thing that still existed. Honestly, I thought that it had been eradicated with like the plague and smallpox, but apparently it's still a thing. So, if you guys do not know what tuberculosis is, I'm gonna pull it up on my phone on Mayo Clinic, not Wikipedia. I'm gonna give you guys the real info. None of this public source. I'm telling you straight from the doctor. So, here we go. From the Mayo Clinic, tuberculosis is a potentially serious infectious disease that mainly affects your lungs. The bacteria that causes tuberculosis are spread from one person to another through tiny droplets released into the air via coughs and sneezes, just like colds and flus. So if you can think about how infectious a cold or a flu is, especially during cold and flu season, that's how infectious tuberculosis is. So it's pretty easy to catch it, apparently. Fact of the video number 1, it's pretty easy. So the symptoms are pretty wide. And I'm going to say right off the bat, I did not have active tuberculosis. I was not coughing up blood. I was not wasting away. I was not Nicole Kidman coughing daintily into a handkerchief while someone loved over me. Like, no, that wasn't me. I had the much milder latent form of tuberculosis. And so latent means non-active or non-contagious. I was not actively dying from tuberculosis, but it was in my system. So with latent tuberculosis, in this condition, you have a TB infection, but the bacteria remain in your body in an inactive state and cause no symptoms. Latent TB, also called inactive TB or just TB infection, is not contagious. I was not contagious. It can turn into active TB, so treatment is important for the person with latent TB to help control the spread of TB. An estimated 2 billion with a B, people have latent tuberculosis. 2 billion. 2 billion people. I didn't know. Who knew? Who knew that was a thing? I didn't. Had absolutely no idea. So when the doctor told me this a few years ago, I was flabbergasted. But let's start from the beginning. I studied abroad in college. Went to Australia. Went to Sydney. Went to University of Newcastle in Australia. Loved it. Had some amazing time. Met some great people. Some really great friends. Came back to America. And that's when I realized that I wasn't feeling super great. I felt totally fine in Australia, minus some new allergies because new continent, new plants. Allergies. But I felt fine in Australia. Everything was great. I, was never having a problem. My pain level was good. I was great. Come back and I can't sleep. I have a really hard time losing weight. In fact, I started gaining weight an incredible amount really, really quickly. I was a 10-12 back then, which I am now. But I got up to a size 18W. Like I was a legitimate certifiable plus size person. And it was like 80 pounds. Like I gained 80 pounds in a short period of time, and I had no idea why. My eating habits hadn't changed. My exercise habits had gone down a tiny bit, but that was because I was so lethargic and so fatigued, and my joints hurt. Everything was just bad. Like I just didn't feel good. And I kept going to the doctor, especially on campus, because I was at college for a whole other year after I came back from Australia. Student health, aka student death, is what we called it. They weren't great. I had pneumonia for a full month before they diagnosed me. They kept telling me to go home and take a nap, which is exactly what they told me when I went in after this. I was like, I don't feel good. I'm not sleeping well. Everything hurts. I'm lethargic. Something's not right. Like I don't feel right. And they told me, okay, well, they took blood, all that, well, you've got some high white blood cells. Your body is clearly fighting some sort of virus. You live in a sorority house. You go to frat parties. You probably just have some sort of virus. Drink some water, take a nap, you'll be fine. And so I was going in every other month being like, something's wrong. I don't feel good. Okay, well, we'll put you on some antidepressants so you can sleep better. Why? Why? Okay, great, you're a college kid, so you're clearly crazy and partying too much, so we're gonna give you some antidepressants to keep you happy and help you sleep. Hey, guess what? That wasn't my problem. So, graduated college, nothing's been figured out. Things keep getting worse. I keep gaining weight. I keep getting sicker. I don't know what's going on. I don't feel good. So finally, I keep advocating for myself. The moral of the story, if you don't want to finish the video, is advocate for yourself medically. I keep going to the doctor. I keep telling them, hey, I don't feel good. Thing is wrong. Joints are hurting. Like, this is wrong. Like, things have been much better in the past, and I don't know what's changed to make me feel like this before. Well, they keep telling me that, oh, well, your white blood cell counts are elevated. Just go rest. Or here, take some probiotics. Or try this thing. Whatever. So my GP sends me to a rheumatologist because my inflammation levels have been ridiculous. Like, way higher than they should be for anything. So she sends me to a rheumatologist. I go in there, and the first thing they do is they sort of take my history, ask me what hurts, where it hurts, how long it's hurt, also, how's your mood? Are you depressed? Because RA has a great trend of people getting really depressed. So I told him, no, I'm pretty fine. Like, I'm frustrated because I don't feel like I should, but I don't think I'm clinically depressed. Like, there's a reason for me to be upset. It's not just me feeling blue. So I don't think it's that. I think it's something physical. And he's like, all right, well, took a bunch of blood, like huge vials of blood. I had a bruise the size of a silver dollar on my arm because I wasn't hydrated well enough because I didn't know they were going to take 6 giant vials of blood. Huge. I wanted to make a vampire joke, but the lady didn't look like she was into jokes that day. So I didn't. But get my blood work done. I come back into the office in a few weeks, and the doctor comes in, says hello, sits down, looks at me, looks at the paper, looks back up at me, goes, you have tuberculosis. And like shuts the file and just looks at me and I'm like, tuberculosis? Like TB? Consumption. That's a thing? Are you sure? Like, I'm sitting here going through like all these confused faces and looking at him like, you're shitting me. You have to be lying to me. By the way, I am not in a mood to be joked with. Can we please get back to the other diagnosis? Do I have rheumatoid arthritis? Can you help me? And he goes, so I'm going to refer you to the top infectious disease specialist in Seattle. And I'm just like, oh God. Infectious disease. I have an infectious disease. Like, I'm freaking out. Like, I am dumbfounded. Like, I'm completely flabbergasted. I'm usually the type of person in the office, like, when I go to a doctor, be like, tell me about this. This is my problem. Will it affect this? I've had this experience, da-da-da-da. Like, I ask a lot of questions because I've gone to a lot of doctor's appointments where they don't give me the information that I'm looking for. I have to, like, pry it out of them. So I'm really usually pretty good at asking a lot of questions in the doctor's office, but I didn't ask any questions because I was shocked. Like, it was literally like someone it felt like a dream, like a really vivid dream, because I was like, this can't be real. It's like if someone told me that I, had scurvy or something. Like, things that don't happen very often don't happen in the real world. This was happening. So I was like, okay, so I make an appointment for the infectious disease specialist down the street, go home, freak out, cry in the shower. My husband comes home. I tell him I have tuberculosis. I don't know what's going on. Finally, I called back the doctor and I was like, hey, I have got questions. Am I active tuberculosis? Like, I'm not coughing up blood. That's the only thing I know about tuberculosis at this point was Nicole Kidman from Moulin Rouge. I'm like, what's wrong with me again? Do I need to call my office, like where I work and all my friends and things and be like, by the way, you might die? And they're like, no, it's latent. You're not infectious at all. Your body's just been trying to fight off TB as well as your other issues. So your body's just been kind of, SOL. So I go to the TB doctor room, waiting for my first appointment, and a mom and her son walk in. And mom's like middle-aged, 40, pretty standard Seattle mom. Kid looks like he's like 10, middle school, not very old. And they walk up and they're like, hi, what are you here for? And she goes, yes, we're here for a follow-up appointment for a monkey bite. Well, my ears perk up because like, I'm like, dude, I have tuberculosis and I'm sitting in here. This other kid just got fucking bit by a monkey? You want weird stories? Go sit in an infectious disease office. Super funny. So many weird things you didn't think actually happened in the real world. They happen to real people. So I meet with the doctor and he's like, all right, yes, you have latent form of TB. It's higher than we would like to see. It could possibly become active. It seems like you've had this for a very long time. So let's go through your history. So I have to tell him where I was born, every single state where I've lived, everywhere I've traveled, everywhere my parents have traveled and come by, everything my sisters have traveled and come through, everywhere my boyfriend, everywhere, anything. Like I have to go through and explain any contact that I have had with anyone who's gone overseas and any contact that I've had. So it's like, all right, we go through everything. Bellevue, safe. Seattle, safe. Washington in general, safe. Texas, safe. Canada, safe. France, safe. England, safe. Australia, safe. However, when you look at a map, Australia is really close to Asian countries. Therefore, there's a lot of flights that have like continuation or connecting flights that originate in Australia and go to Asian countries and then go to like Europe and US and everything like that and all over. So when I left Australia, totally fine. Felt completely fine. It was when I got home that things started feeling off within a few weeks. So the best guess my doctors could come up with was that somewhere in the airport in Australia, somewhere on the plane when I left Australia and flew to LA, somewhere in LA on the plane or the airport or somewhere in that chain of travel, I came in contact with someone with active tuberculosis, meaning they were coughing up blood. When they coughed, there was active bacteria in the air that I somehow inhaled, got into my body, and it was infected. So, no idea who it was, no idea how it happened or where, but because I can almost pinpoint exactly when I started feeling like crap after Australia, that's what we think happened. Somewhere because of the incubation period or whatever. So it happened sometime in that traveling. So tuberculosis is really simple to treat. It's not fun being treated for it, but it's simple to treat. I hope that makes sense. So what you have to do, for me anyway, was I had 2 antibiotics a day. I took them in the morning. And then for 3 months. No alcohol because the antibiotics were super, super intense on your liver. So I couldn't even have kombucha, which is like 0.5% alcohol, which sucked because antibiotics also kill the good bacteria in your stomach. So my stomach was like extra just not happy with me because not only am I taking antibiotics, which just ruin everything, I also couldn't replenish it with kombucha, which is my usual way of replenishing bacteria. So I had to take probiotics, but I was taking literally like 4 probiotic pills a day because the antibiotics would just decimate everything. The doctor's like, if you're going to take probiotics, you need to take a ton because these antibiotics will just destroy them. So I was really nauseous and really fatigued and kind of felt like crap for 3 months. But then once it was gone, and once I was done with the antibiotics, I felt great. It was awesome. Like, I was a whole new person. Weight started dropping off like crazy. I had more energy. I was clearer. My skin looked better. Like, I was just a whole new person. But the whole new person that I was used to, it sort of felt like as soon as I came back from studying abroad, something was weird and I wasn't myself. And now I am. So it's nice to be back to the old Victoria. It's great. So, moral of the story, you be your own medical advocate. If you know something is not right, if something is not feeling normal, you know your body, like get in touch with it. And if you don't know your body, know your medical records, know how it feels when certain things happen to you, know how it feels when certain things don't happen to you. Because doctors are really busy people. They have a lot of patients. They don't always have the time to sit down and have a 3-hour long conversation with you about how everything in your life has changed and you don't know what's going on. They're going to look at the symptoms and try and figure it out. And in the United States, where TB is not a very common thing anymore, and I hadn't traveled to necessarily a specific state or a country that had an outbreak, they never knew to test it. So I can't really get mad about that. I am really glad that it's gone now because I feel a lot better. So advocate for yourself, talk to your doctor, keep track of things, really stand up for yourself, because if I hadn't stood up for myself, I might still feel like shit. So now that TB is gone, I am in treatment for rheumatoid arthritis, which is a whole other story on its own, but everything's getting good. So tuberculosis is still a thing. You can have it and not immediately die like Nicole Kidman, and be your own advocate. Those are your 3 tips of today. So thanks everybody for listening. Sorry for the long video. If you have any other fun medical history craziness, tell me in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. And have a great day. Take care of yourselves.